and justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector,
My God.
my God,
And my salvation.
and my salvation.
By night.
And
by day. Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Through Ali.
Amen.
Amen. Remain standing.
Islam.
First I give praise to Allah.
First I give praise to Allah,
The great God of the universe.
the great God of the universe.
I give honor to his holy divine prophet.
I give honor to his holy and divine prophet,
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali,
The founder of the Moorish Science of America.
the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
I give honor to the forerunner to the prophet.
I give honor to the forerunner to the prophet,
Brother Marcus Garvey.
Brother Marcus Garvey.
I give honor to all true and divine prophets.
I give honor to all true and divine prophets,
Jesus.
Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius,
etc.
etc.
I give honor to the past, supreme, grand advisor, and moderator of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the past, supreme, grand advisor, and moderators of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother C. Kirkman Bay.
Brother C. Kirkman Bay,
Brother F. Nelson Bay.
Brother F. Nelson Bay,
And Brother J. Blakely Bay.
and Brother J. Blakely Bay.
I give honor to our past, former Grand Sheik and moderator of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to our past,
Brother R. Laville.
Brother R. Laville.
I give honor to our present Grand Sheik, who is the moderator of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to our present Grand Sheik, who is the moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother R. Jones Bay.
Brother R. Jones Bay.
I give honor to the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother P. Chase Hill.
Brother P. Chase Hill.
I give honor to the Grand National Secretary of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the Grand National Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Sister I. Moore Bay.
Sister Almore Bay.
I give honor to the Financial Secretary of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the Financial Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Sister T. Potter Bay.
Sister T. Potter Bay,
And to her assistant.
and to her assistant,
Sister M. Montgomery Bay.
Sister M. Montgomery Bay.
I give honor to all national, state, and local officials of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to all national, state, and local officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
I give honor to the Grand Governor of Washington, D.C.
I give honor to the Grand Governor of Washington, D.C.,
Brother H. Harris Bay.
Brother H. Harris Bay,
And to his assistant.
and to their assistant,
Brother T. Gaither.
Brother T. Gabriel.
I give honor to the Grand Sheik of Temple 71.
I give honor to the Grand Sheik of Temple 71,
Brother L. Green Bay.
Brother L. Green Bay.
I give honor to all auxiliaries of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to all auxiliaries of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
I give honor to the American flag,
I give honor to the American flag,
the Moorish flag,
the Moorish flag,
and to our charter.
and to our charter.
I give honor to everything that the prophet brought
I give honor to everything that the prophet brought
for the uplifting and falling humanity.
for the uplifting of fallen humanity.
Honor to man.
I give honor to man.
Peace.
Peace.
Salvation, our God, unity. The Moorish Science of America, the divine conscience. The Moorish Science of America, divine constitution bylaw. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known for the members of the Moorish Science of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest. Because on a Friday, first man born in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh, and sent to his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science of America. No member to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister or any case in that order may harm his brother or sister with Allah's love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. Because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the state government, so to obey hereby. Act 6. But first, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of the state government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now must proclaim that free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moors emerged out of the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must properly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep alive all the statutes of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children. Look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother, be industrious, and become a part of the others and follow humanity. All Moorish Americans, keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali through the God's Father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his Holy Prophet Drew Ali, amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 2905 5th Street, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20032. That's where I read from the Divine Constitutional Bylaws. Now I'd like to read from the questionnaire and additional law for the Moorish American by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand Sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be financed property or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former author to violate these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restriction as set by the Prophet of the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend at their meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, she'll be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second he'll be fined $1, which will go in your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to do to the electric fund, because they take finance throughout the nation. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty to every good member, if he is able in finance to aid me and save the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of blessings on people and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. As I had the power and blessing in my hands, I will have to force the Lord in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radically against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must properly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and that every member exercise fine senses who is able to do so, because offering the Sunday school from the guidance of the nation. Act 6. But first, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part impartial of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from the sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, who inhabited the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must properly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep alive all the necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to a name of faith. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, You must obey your husband and take care of your children. Look after duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother, be industrious, and become part of the uplifting of all humanity. All Moorish Americans, keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet Noble Ali through the God's Father, God Allah. That's what I read from the questionnaire, and this is all 7 acts. And I would like to read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science of America, divinely prepared by the Noble Prophet Noble Ali. I'd like to read from chapter 48, the end of time fulfilling the prophecies. The last prophet in these days is Noble Ali, who was prepared divine in due time by Allah to redeem them from the sinful ways and the warning of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and spare the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days there came a forerunner who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus God, who did teach and warn the nation of the earth to prepare me to become a prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting copy to sons of men, that every nation shall must worship under their own divine fig tree and return to their only one, which is Father God Allah. Peace.
Peace.
Islam, Lord.
Islam.
Again, I'd like to welcome you all to our Sunday school here in Washington, D.C., Temple 71. We're here to go in the Lord and say, open the Sunday school from the God of the nation. Today we've been instructed by the Grand Sheikh, who is the moderator of the Moorish Science of America, Brother John Bay. Pray, Lord, that we have a good Sunday school today and that exercise. That we exercise our 5 senses. So we need exercise. And pray that everybody got literature. If you need literature, you can raise your hand. Also with a tissue, you need water. Raise your hand. Somebody with a tissue. So as soon as everybody come upstairs, you got children's high school?
Yes.
Islam.
Islam.
Not for those who just came up. Like I said, we need to double check our cell phone, make sure we walk in the course of our meeting. Again, I'd like to welcome all to our Sunday school, Wakefair, Seekers After Truth members, guests, welcome. So we're gonna have a moment of silent meditation before I call our instructor to our Sunday school. Islam, Morris.
Islam.
Can I ask a question? Is everybody feeling okay? Yeah. It's just, I ain't gonna say me, but how do y'all feel?
It's a little
Fine.
warm.
It's a little warm.
Coming down a notch.
Yeah.
It gets cold.
Yeah, okay, then just me.
Take it back up. Just hit the minus. Take it down one.
Yeah, hit it more than
Don't take it down too soon. Sure will.
Just me. You know, when you stand up, the heat be up. So, y'all down there. Did I go get it? Islam, but I'll further y'all like to call for the Grand Seagull with the moderator of the Morristown Tip-Off. I have to instruct our son.
Islam.
Islam.
Okay. Allah the Father of the universe.
Father, love,
truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Ali. Amen.
Praise Allah. Okay, let's begin. Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
What consists? What's in the universe? Allah is the Father of the universe. What's in the universe?
It's unknown.
Galaxies, planets,
Everything.
Be more precise.
Everything that exists, more. Everything that ever was, is, never more to be.
Why can't we just simply say thoughts? Thoughts. Allah's thoughts are in the universe. It's impregnated with Allah's thoughts. The universe itself is a thought.
Yes.
And in the universe, it contains thoughts. And what does these thoughts do?
manifest.
Creates more.
Okay. They also express the one great thought that created them by thought. Allah's thoughts express Allah. They express the source from which they come. And each thought of Allah does what? It does, no question. But what does it do? What is the purpose of Allah's thought?
To show the strength of Allah, man.
Okay, we can say that. But what else? I mean, what else does the thoughts do?
Produce.
Okay.
Create.
They produce.
They do produce.
They function.
They do function.
Matter of fact.
But they also, they develop into perfection of their own kind.
Praise Allah.
The thoughts create their own, let me say it in this way. The thoughts of Allah also create. And they create a state of perfection of their own kind. Remember, the thoughts of Allah never die. So if they don't die, what are they doing? They're creating. If they don't die, they're not there dormant. They're doing something. They are creating. Just like you, just like me. We are creating. We are creators, and we do what?
Make our own.
So the universal thought is one. things are one. And from the one comes many. Many what? Thoughts. And these thoughts continue to create. You see why? Why do you think that's so? Why do you think the thoughts of Allah continue to
Because
create?
Allah lives on.
He lives on. Allah cannot die. There is no death to any thought of Allah. The world is made in mercy and love. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Where is the world of mercy and love? Where is the world of mercy and love?
Within self.
Within your own creation.
Within your own creation. Within your own creation. That's a good thought. You know? But where is the world of mercy and love?
In the heart.
In the heart. Where is the world of mercy and love?
Allah's thought.
Within.
It is in Allah's thought, no question.
And
I mean, the answers that you're giving are good. And really, I'm just getting my thing off. Listening to you.
I would also say
You know.
in our acts and deeds.
Okay. Come on.
It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. It is.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
The world of mercy and love is here. Why can't you see it?
Well, because
we
finite
are
mind
the
can
ones.
comprehend things infinite.
That's right. Because we have accepted the reflections as being real.
Sir, I think you can see glimpses of it.
You
in
do get
this
glimpses,
place.
Mo. You do. You do get glimpses. You make a transition from time to time.
Right.
But you must return because you are still held captive in the body.
Right.
You get an opportunity to get a glimpse of something better than this. But it's only a glimpse. But we know it's something more than this. It's got to be something more than this. Because we know he made the world in mercy and love. So that means at some point, at some time, we have experienced that world of mercy and love. We just can't hold. I've been in a situation where have you ever, here you go, let's see if we can journey back for a moment. Remember when we went to 28's Family Day? And we enjoyed ourselves so much that we would have liked that day to just continue? That was a glimpse of the world of mercy and love. The happiness, the joy, just being in each other's company with the thoughts that we were holding. That was a glimpse of the world of mercy and love, letting us know it's not a place of meets and bounds. It's not a country to be reached.
It's state of mind.
Like the Holy Spirit.
State of mind. The question is, of course, do we desire to create it? See, we experience it, we enjoy it, but then, the vibration changes because the ethers change, and we return back to the state that we're in.
Which is for delusion.
We return back into the illusion.
It's just like saying all times are not alike.
It's not.
Every moment is not the same.
It's not. We are the creators of those moments. We are the controllers of time. But it must be done in the concord. Come on.
I'm sorry. But in the Holy City, it was there, right?
Yeah, it was there.
Always.
Yes.
There wasn't no,
That's why you had to leave. That's why we had had to leave because we had a contradictory thought that opposed that thought. And that brought about this
Confusion.
You can't stay in a holy place in a hellish state of mind. You can't have accepted someone else other than Allah is God. How you going to be in God's place accepting someone other than God?
Right.
You have to go. Come on, Mom.
That's what happens when you lose the consciousness.
Yes, brother. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Also, the problem is that we are crazy and create our
Yeah.
own.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Allah never made that hell for us. We made the hell once we said it was someone other than Him. Once we accepted someone other than Allah, the great God, or by whatever name you may call Him, because the name doesn't change the essence of God. It just names a part that people see. But when we said that there is a something else other, then that changed. That's a whole different ballgame. Because now you start to put in place your imagination. Yeah.
That's like monotheism.
Say it?
Monotheism.
Yeah.
One God.
One God. One God that's identifiable by many names because of His tremendous amount of attributes. We have a tendency to name the part we see. What attribute do you see? What do you see that that gives you your ideal of God?
Man's ideal
Is this God? And as man unfolds, what?
His God unfolds.
Man's God today?
Man's God is God.
It's a process. It is a growing process. And it helps us to reach the state of perfection. But perfected man must do what?
Pass all ways of life.
He must pass. You gotta pass. We must go, we must pass this way. But remember, in passing along the way, there are allurements.
Trials and temptations. We said more.
And the allurements address or enhance your what?
Desire.
Say it. Say it.
Desire.
Desire.
Or enlightenment with life.
That's no question. But it inflames
Your perception,
your imagination.
your imagination.
Then you start imagining thoughts that come from your acceptance of those things that you accept as being real.
Right.
And what are they?
Illusion.
Reflexes.
Bubble.
The reflexes just appearing.
Right.
And that's how we get caught up.
That's how we get caught up.
They like bubbles.
Next thing you know, we're vibrating in the reflex.
Right.
Yes.
Would the reflex be considered the ways?
Yes, once you choose to go that way.
Because when I hear the ways of life,
Right.
I always think of the physical, the soul, and
Well, the
spirit.
physical is the reflex.
Right.
That is the reflex. The physical is the appearance of what's real, but it's not.
And which is a way
Of
that
life.
you must pass
If you
through.
accept to go that way. See, I don't choose to, having gone that way, I don't choose to go that way again.
Right.
So that reflex has no impact on my decision making. Because I done been there, done that. I'm not a seeker anymore about something that's giving me the appearance of being something that it's not. Because being there, I found out that it's not what it appeared to be.
It's not real.
And I see the consequences of my choice. It created a condition. So I don't want to be in that condition anymore, so I know not to travel in that direction.
So you set that principle.
Of course, the principle is what gives you the what?
Guide.
The rule of conduct, which helps you to not to choose to be there,
No, but the
because
government
that's not in accordance with your principle.
Exactly.
Right. Why do you think it's important that he tells us to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven?
Ain't no question.
Why is that important? Why do you think you cannot be in a position to make a reasonable choice unless you seek first the kingdom of heaven? Why?
Because our future is in his hand.
It's our future is not necessarily in his hand. Our future is in our hands. Because on our present choice
Determines
depends
our
our future happens. So it's our choice that makes the future. So what is it? Why? Why heaven? Why heaven? Why look to heaven first? Come on.
Because like I said, because he is our Savior.
Come on.
That's the only way the prophet knew. That's the only way mankind could be saved.
Come on.
Because we have two selves.
Come on.
Well, from the heavens, his glory shines forth.
Come on.
Heaven was stated to be a state of mind, right?
It is. That's right.
And happiness is a part of that state of mind. Most people think irrationally when anger is appear.
Okay.
So I guess if mostly you got a happy thought, you can
Okay.
got a reason.
I can see the relationship. Come on. Yeah, come on, sis.
Oh, I was saying strength and knowledge and guidance.
Strength and knowledge and guidance. Okay. Come on, Mo. Love you, babe.
I think about seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. I think about how much and how long I've been accepting that way of teaching.
Right.
So if I don't begin to understand how to fight the tools I need to get out of that way of thinking,
Right.
right? I have to consistently seek. So it's a way, a pathway to get me out of accepting that way of teaching.
Okay. But what advantage is it still? The question remains.
Because nothing is possible
Just-
without Allah.
Come on, Martin.
It gives you your foundation.
That's
Right.
good. That's good. That's good. Come on, Mo.
He gives you an opportunity to look within.
That's good. That's good. That's all good. Yes, my dear.
It gives you the connection to your Father.
It gives you connection. Okay, I can hear that. Come on, Mo.
By seeking the kingdom of heaven, it gives you that heavenly thought to guide you on the path to get to that in that, I guess, righteous direction. Because without seeking it first, we'll stay where we at right here on this contemplating things make manifest.
Okay. 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 Come on. Allah is all. He is. He's all. Come on, Mo.
Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, I would put Allah first.
Okay. That's good. I'm not look, I am not in opposition to what you're saying. Come on, Brother McGee, back.
Islam, I think it's when seeking first the kingdom of heaven, that's so that you can focus on those things that are real instead of those things that are not real.
That's good. That's good. That's really good.
I'm going to say more that Allah, that he is our creator and that he made us.
Okay. Okay. What do you want to say, Governor?
Because that's our only shelter.
It is. It is. It is.
Of life.
It is. What does it take to create heaven?
Thought.
Come on, Mo.
Will.
Yes, it does. The exercise of will, no question. What else does it take to create heaven? No question. The thought is no question. We already know to create anything, we must have what?
Thought.
The thought. So what does it take to create heaven?
Good.
Come on.
The exercise of that thought.
The exercise of the thought. Okay. Come on.
State of mind.
The state of mind. No question. Okay. All right. Desire. Sacrifice. Keep on talking.
Good.
It takes
Principles.
It takes courage.
There you go. What? More what?
Principles.
It takes rule. You must have a rule over your life to create heaven. How can your actions be right, which is hell, if you have no rule over your life? You must have a rulership to create the condition of heaven. Because heaven is based on principles. It's founded on principles. Without principles, there is no heaven. There is only hell.
That's like the main ingredient.
It is the essential part, my brother.
That's right. Along with happiness. Yeah.
Well, that can only follow the essential part of establishing to yourself principles of action.
All of them will come.
All of them, Mo, because you open the door for them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Come on, Mo.
And look, man, see, you brought us back around.
Yeah.
Because in the prayer, we say it all the time.
Come on, Mo.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Come on, Mo.
Father of love,
Right.
truth, peace, freedom,
Right.
and justice.
That's right, Mo. That's right, Mo. Look, this that we're talking about is given to us. Everything that he has placed in our hands that's divine are instructions for us to create the condition known as heaven. My sister.
So is
Oh, you're not
that
my
the
sister, you're my
answer?
wife. You know what they done? You know one time, my mentor told me one time when I was coming up, he said, and it was weird to me then, he said, you're going to have to marry your sister. And I had never heard it like that before, and I'm saying, you know what I mean? But isn't it somehow, once you start to see a little further, you see a little further? And you're not confined with the carnal thoughts. You're grown. I'm sorry about that.
No, I was asking the question. So is the answer you just gave to what does it take to create heaven?
Yes.
Is that why we need to seek first the kingdom of heaven?
Yes.
Pray, Father.
Because if we are in the search for it, what must we be exposing ourselves to?
The method to get there.
The method to get there, and that's what, Sister Green Bay, what you gonna say?
Higher thoughts.
Higher thoughts, that's right. A rule of conduct.
Right. That's what it means when they say be principle driven.
Well, I can see why it would mean that.
Because
I can hear that. Be principle driven, I can hear that. That's a good thought. That's a real good thought. You know. So the question, of course, is, what does principles afford us to do? It does. It does. Look, I'm not going back around the barn. But what does the principle say? What, Mom?
Foundation.
It's foundation. But what else? What else, Mom? A rule of conduct. No question. But what else? What else? What else do you need to do with principles? Or what? No. What does the principle encourage you to do?
You got to live it more.
You do. No question.
Stay on the path.
No question.
Rule of conduct.
Rule of conduct, yes. But, more importantly, it sets boundaries. It sets boundaries. Why are boundaries important?
So you know how far to go.
So you'll know how far to go. Thus far and no further. You see? So you got to know how far to go. That's true. See, some people will tell you, you don't went a little bit too far.
That's why you seek not.
See, when you start to escape from yourself with no rule over your life, you done went a little bit too far. You have no boundaries because you have no principles.
Rule of conduct.
And, Islam, sir, and boundaries actually keeps you safe too.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why they establish certain boundaries.
That's right.
Physically, anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
But each one of us has a boundary that we have established. There are certain points that we have established that, look, you can't exceed that. It doesn't matter how much of a God-fearing person you may be striving to be. You still have boundaries that cannot be exceeded. You see? Yeah.
The prophet said, seek thyself principles, right? See, according to.
Say it again.
Much as I can recall.
Establishes that itself. Principles. Okay. That's what he
See,
said.
according to.
That's right. That's right. Come on, Mom.
Islam. The prophet also says, keep thy soul in moderation, right? And teach thy spirit to be attentive to the truth.
Yes, he does. Now tell me how you're tying that in. Because you made a factual statement.
I'm setting the boundaries.
Okay.
By drawing a circle.
Okay.
Around my passions and desires.
Okay. That's good, Mo. You know, that's good. As a matter of fact, each time you are able to recall something that comes from out of the Quran, I'm going to ask you to make it applicable to what we're talking about.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Let's see if you really see, or if you just have remembered to recall. Let's see where you're at for real. See, a lot of times, some of us have a tendency to want to express to those who are in attendance how we have been able to remember or recite. But we're going to find out just how much you know about what you're saying. Because for you to know, you got to what? You got to be what you know. And the only way that you're going to know this is that you're being it. Now, the question, of course, another question I have is this. What is it that helps you, or what is it that prompts you to be or not to be? That is the question. What is it? What is it that prompts you to be or not to be?
Inconstancy.
I like that. Inconstancy. Inconstancy. And where is the inconstancy found? In the heart. So the inconstancy attempts to cause or attempts to influence you to become what? Wishy-washy.
Wavering.
Okay. Or what? Weak. Various and wavering. Yeah. And yet, it's a part of who? Part of man. That means inconstancy is also a thought. And yielding to that thought is the acceptance of that thought, even though it's powerful. It's more powerful when you yield to it, because it's already there. But when you yield to it, you give it what?
Life.
Yes, power of what? Power of what?
Your thoughts.
Yes, that's right, but you give it power of expression. It express. See, it's there, but you must be the one to say, go ahead and express yourself. That's right, which renders it non-expressive. But how do you keep inconstancy from expressing itself?
By
Come on.
covering yourself with your principles.
That's right. That's right. Being firm. And the same thing that Jesus had to go through in the wilderness, and he said he was what? He was fixed. That means you have to fix it where?
In your heart.
In your heart. Not to yield to inconstancy. Come on.
Islam, he also gave us a tool before that verse of being fixed as to what to recite to help us. Away from me all tempting thoughts. I have to find a way to consistently recite that, because just because I win one battle don't mean it's over.
Right.
So I gotta keep fighting.
Right.
By saying that consistently. That's how I guard myself at all times against inconstancy.
Right.
But I mean, and it's not, and it's so subtle.
Right.
It pops up so subtle. It's dead before I eat it without my permission.
Right. Right.
It's dead. And
But
I'm like,
but think about this. The inconstancy that we're discussing is powerful, but it is also illusion.
That's right.
Inconstancy is illusion. How do we know? How can you determine an illusion from reality? Tell me how you determine illusion from reality.
By what it reads.
One way that I have experienced is finding out the difference between my thinking and the higher thinking.
Okay. Okay.
Meaning, for instance, I might look at something that I want to do and say, oh, gee, I can't do that.
Okay.
Instead of saying, how can I do that?
Okay. Okay.
And the higher than that is, you can do anything if you align yourself with the principles and Allah's teachings.
Okay.
Because Allah doesn't know anything about not having enough. That's a man's thought. So if I challenge myself about maintaining a higher thought,
right,
I'm in a better position, like the brother here talking about. You got to keep the fight up every day. You're aware.
Right. Right.
The awareness is
right.
there.
Right. Right. How else can you tell?
Making that wise decision.
But to make a wise decision, we have to accept that the decision that we're making is wise. And who is the determining factor of that?
You are.
Who determines if it's wise or not?
We do.
So the question is, again, before I go, don't even try to do that. I'm still asking the same question. The question is, how can you tell what? Illusion from reality. That's the question.
By what it breeds.
Go ahead. Come on,
Islam by determining if it's measured by time.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. But that's not the answer. It's a good answer.
I would say, since law governs all events,
okay,
when you're out of law, you know, something befalls you that's not like the consequence is not going to be what you want it to be. But when you in law,
okay,
you know, you have a good consequence and you have a negative consequence.
Okay.
And so when I'm out of law, I get a negative consequence that makes me see that this wasn't the right thing to do. But then when I, you know, like I said, because I think part of what our Providence teaches is to obey law.
Right.
And so I realized that, you know, if you obey the law,
right,
if you follow the rules and regulations, if you follow the instructions, if you stay within the guidelines, it's no room for failure in those things.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay. Come on, brother.
I always was told that you know a tree by the fruit it bears.
Right. Right. Okay. Come on, brother over here.
I look at where the prophet talks about if your actions don't speak for you, you belie the words that you speak. And so when think I'm on the right path and I'm telling myself, hey, I'm doing it right, but my actions are not actually being right. That's how I determine reality from illusion.
Okay. I goes with the Quran when the prophet says it is illusion that will pass away. You see things every day in life. It comes, pass away. You know, physical forms. We birth, by the form pass away. You know, you look at heavenly body. They begin, they go away. So that was my way of kind of evaluating what is permanent and what passes. Because it seems like everything in the physical plane passes away. So,
that's good. That's good. Come on, here.
Well, what comes to mind is the results of what it breeds.
Yes.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a result.
That's right.
And that result comes from what it breeds.
Yeah.
You know? And those choices that we make.
Yeah.
Either one or the other.
Sister Delia.
It's not. I'm sitting thinking if I'm in tune with the law, the still small voice,
Yeah.
that helps me to choose.
Yes, it does.
You know, but we have to be
It does.
in tune with our law.
It does. You know, the devil, he's quiet when he speaks too. The devil's
I
quiet too.
said you have to be in tune with our law.
See, the devil can make you think it is a lie. That's why he sometimes calls himself God.
That's right.
See, you have to, see, we say we have to be in tune with the law to know when he speaks. Well, that's solely determined on how you've been current. You can be in a situation where you may think you current the way you should be current to hear what you think is Allah's voice. But suppose you've been hearing what you've been hearing, and what you've been hearing has been aiding and assisting you in the way you think, and you've gained satisfaction from getting that result, and you don't even examine to find out if it's Allah anymore, because it appeals to something in you that we have accepted by way of their teachings. The way you tell is like everything else. He tells us, he gives us the foundation of how you tell the one from the other. When he told you that truth does not change. It doesn't change. In our decision making, truth doesn't change. If you hold truth to truth, it doesn't change. If it changes, it's not truth. In your dealings with each other, as we deal with each other, especially in our communications with one another, if we are changing up, what is that an indication of?
You're not being true.
We're not firm. So if we're not firm and it's noted, then we should recognize the fact, how can one's action be right? So why rely on what someone has to say?
Right. So we're not.
Because they may say anything.
He said, man may believe what others say because
Thus he never knows. See, in our communication, we should always be prepared for the confrontation of one's lower self. Because when I'm talking to you, your lower self is there too. When you're talking to me, my lower self is here too.
he listened.
Now the question is, am I going to be consistent enough in what I have accepted as being the truth? By way of what the divine instructions are showing us, to hold on to it when the ethers change. Because when the ethers change, another conversation comes about, and it may transform it from being the higher conversation into a lower conversation, just like that. And if you're not careful, you won't make the switch. You'll still think you're talking high. But you're now in the lower ether now. But you didn't make the switch because you didn't hear the sound when the switch was made. Come on, Mo. And when the ethers change, if you're unconscious that you're even in the ethers, you can be talking about something here, and all of a sudden here he comes, brings it here, and it makes a transition, and you don't even know you done made the transition.
You know about Grand Sheik? That's when it's time to just get out of there. First, you wonder like, why you leave like that?
But you gotta have courage enough for truth.
That's right.
See, this your partner. I mean, y'all hang out together.
Right.
So when that conversation that I'm holding with you flips, do I have enough courage to say, look, I got to go?
You should.
Or am I going to just simply, come on, let's finish the conversation. I'm going to let you finish saying what you got to say. But the whole time you're listening, the ethers now have you caught up in that low way of thinking. So now here the devil speaks to you now in a slow or still voice or quiet voice. He whispers, persuading you to continue to indulge in the conversation. There's nothing wrong with it. After all, we started talking about Allah. We still talking. Look, And next thing you know, you in it. So I'm saying that to say, yeah, he does speak in a still small voice. But we're hoping that we haven't had a transition, unbeknownst to us, where we start to pursue another way of, you know, yeah. Yes.
But we answer the question about heaven, seeking the kingdom of heaven, or is this some of the things that breathe? What are you talking about?
Well, what we're talking about is heaven. And what's permitted in heaven. What does it take to create, and what does it take to stay in heaven? And how not to be misled into believing that heaven is hell. Because you know you can do that. You can misidentify heaven as being hell. I mean, yeah. No, hell is being heaven. Yeah. Which is easy to do. Especially, suppose you're in a situation, the condition has presented to you like this. Everything is going fine. You done hit the number. For real, you done hit the number. You know, I'm out here having a good time, I'm partying, I'm having a good time. Well, to you, at that moment, that's heaven. Now, who's to say to you that you'll even want to take an examination until you run out of money? Something come up that you don't like, which snaps you back into reality. And that's easy it's easy to transition from one state to another. The only thing that helps you is the very thing that we were talking about at first. Your what? Principles. Your principles. My brother.
It's just like the devil's advocate.
Yes, yeah. They might not have seen that, babe. I don't think they've seen that. But go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
Yeah, the devil's advocate, the way he fashioned things to be.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Enticing.
Yes.
The guy was winning.
Yes.
You know, everything was going his way.
Yes.
And to the end.
To the end.
You know, then he looked up.
That's right.
And he's.
That's right.
Praise Allah.
That's right, Mom. That's right.
He was in the devil's spot.
But he still had a choice. He had a choice.
He told him that.
Yeah, he had a choice. You know, and that's the same thing we got. You know, we got a choice. You know, it says we have to be very careful where there's the least appearance of evil. Don't never go to sleep.
That's right.
You know, when you lay yourself on roses, beware. Always be remembered, we're in the world a reflex. Things are not always what they seem. You must examine with what? Care. Examine with care. And fix not suddenly. Because on your present what?
Choice.
What does that depend on?
Depends on what you have.
That's right. So in your present, you are now creating again your future.
I just want to say this here, though. It's like why the prophet said, the wise man begin to live at the first period, food always began.
It could be why he said it. I can understand that it fits. It fits. You know, I'm a little reluctant. I am reluctant to say it's what he said.
Right. That's right.
You know, because remember, his thought is divine. Mine is still finite. Okay, let's go to the Holy Quran. All right, chapter 41. 40. Chapter 41, page 50. Yo, you went over last week, right?
Yeah, we just did a few verses.
Okay. 1 to 6? Okay. All right. All right. We're going to read 1 to 6 and then we'll pick up at 7. Chapter 41, hope instructions from the prophet in conscience. Nature urges thee to inconstancy, O man. Therefore guard thyself at all times against it. Thou art from the womb of thy mother, various and wavering, from the loins of thy father inheriteth thou instability. How then shalt thou be firm? Those who gave thee a body furnished it with weakness, but he who gave thee a soul armed thee with resolution. Employ it, and thou art wise. Be wise, and thou art happy. Let him who doeth well beware how he boasteth of it, for rarely is it of his own will. Is not the event of an impulse from without, born of uncertainty, enforced by accident, dependent on someone else? To thee and to accident is due the praise. Beware of irresolution in the intent of thy actions. Beware of instability in the execution. So shalt thou triumph over two great failings of thy nature. What's the failings again?
Instability.
Irresolution and what?
Instability.
Okay, now what's irresolution? Now, remember, he's not saying that irresolution is a failing. He said it is a what? A great failure.
Yeah.
Meaning, if it's a great failing, it is more of a challenge. What is it? Come on, Mark.
Your inability to be firm.
Your inability to be firm. That's good. That's good. Come on, Brooke Dogan here.
I need to look at the word, but I thought it would be not being able to solve an issue. You know, if you have a problem,
Not to be
irresolute.
I understand.
But I'd have to get the definition of that word to be sure.
Okay. Sister Amy Bay.
To be hesitant and to have like doubt.
To be
in their
hesitant,
actions
doubt,
or intent.
Okay. Firm. Lack firmness.
Lack of
Or I hear
firmness.
what you're saying. Yeah. To be, you know what? Irresolution is the cousin of doubt. Irresolution and doubt is related. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you can be, doubt is what brings his partner irresolution with him. Yeah. This is not going to work. But you know what you know that by doing that, that's not going to work that way. But if you stick to this,
It could work.
it's going to work. But doubt says, I'm telling you something.
Right.
Now the question is, who determines whether to use doubt or to continue to be firm?
You.
You. Okay, but you who? You who? Huh?
Spirit.
But your higher self, why would the higher self have to do that? And the higher self is Allah man.
Because I think we start.
It's your soul.
Say it, Mo.
It's your soul.
It's your soul. It's your soul that is the determining factor. That's why the devil wants it.
That's correct.
You can't control it.
You hear what I'm saying? Press. Express your accepted way of thinking, which is an action of it. It's an action. It is an action. Your soul is influenced by doubt, irresolution, lack of firmness, because she's already what? Irrational. She's flexible, more supple than water, more flexible than wax, meaning she can be swayed either way at any time. So you may know somewhat, or you may know the truth. No, you may be aware of the truth, but you may not have accepted the truth.
So that's something that should resonate with you.
Of course.
In other words, when he says, I think it's like when you have grasped hold to the religion of Islam, he says, hold fast the fidelity unto him.
That's right.
And forsake her not.
That's what he said.
And so once you have actually accepted it, you take the power of the words and let them resonate through you. So then when you move, it's like I'm moving in a certain kind of way.
That's right.
And in that certain kind of way would be in the way of the Spirit.
That's right. The way of the Spirit. That's right. That's right. But you're guiding her. You're directing her. You see? Now, irresolution can become foreign to her. But you must be what? You must be what?
Consistent.
Say it.
Constant.
Constant. And what?
And
that which is right.
Right.
Yeah. That's it, Mark. That's it. what reproaches reason? Now, what is reason?
Good sound judgment.
Good sound judgment. Okay. What reproaches reason more than to act contrarieties? Come on, Martin.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with the irresolution.
Okay.
Because of the fact it's asking you right there. It said when you do what reproaches reason, what questions your reason?
Right.
More than act contrary.
Right.
You just sit down, resolve the situation,
right,
and reason it out.
Right.
You know which is which, the high or the low.
Right.
But still you go contrary to what you done reason out. That's what I feel like is irresolution.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not using your judgment properly.
Right. I like that. That's good. Hey, look. You ever had experience like this? Say you with somebody, and say they do something that may just disturb your peace, and you say to yourself, well, I'm not going to say nothing about it. I'm just let it go. And that's when the person not there. And then the person appears, and the first thing you do is put them on blast. It's like you've been holding.
Yes.
It's like you've been holding. That's like irresolution. That's like not being firm.
Right.
That's like
changing.
Yeah,
Switch
changing.
up.
And constancy.
Constancy, instability, all that.
That's right. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, for instance, I knew when I left to come here.
Right.
I had already made that my agenda.
Right.
And I can reflect back on times when I may have had an agenda and I deviated from the agenda.
Right.
And then everything from there we just came a ball of confusion.
Right.
So just staying on the course.
Yes.
Which is resolution. It's like having a plan.
Yes.
And then if I don't have a plan, then I guess that would be my irresolution because basically I'm just going to and fro. I'm not really. I don't have no direction.
Yes.
I'm just because.
Yeah. But that's her.
Right.
That's her.
Her emotions are irregular.
That's right.
Right. Islam.
That's right, Mo. And action is her delight.
Action is her delight.
You see. So that's her. So now that we know that, just because we know of resolution does not make us resolute.
Right.
That's a what? What must that be? To become resolute, you must what?
Become grounded, firm in her actions.
Firmness of mind.
Be constant.
Be beautiful. Yeah, you do. But you first must practice. You must always practice the religion. Islamism is the practice of Islam.
That's right.
Islam is the submittance to one God.
To one God. Islam.
And that's what we must always remember. The practice of Islamism is what gives us the advantage.
Right.
In the world.
Let the actions of thy life show
Sure.
thy love to his love.
That's it. But you must teach her. See, we're teaching her every day.
Right.
But when you are wishy-washy, she does not rely on your instructions. So we have to be consistent with her. Because she too needs a pattern.
Right.
For her life.
Of course. You must have a way that she can see this way. And I cannot deviate.
Right.
Because the minute she sees an opening in another direction, remember, the end of her search is truth. And she'll venture out trying to find the truth in it. But that may not be the way she needs to go. And now the spirit which is housed in her is looking, it's inside, right? And she done made choices. And the choices are creating conditions. So now the spirit must the spirit must bear witness to the condition that she's made, based on her acceptance of what perhaps is true. Yeah.
That's why we gotta let the spirit actually.
Of course, but you got to give the Lord control.
Let go of the wheel.
You got to give the Lord control. If you don't let the Lord be the Lord, then the Lord is going to be governed by her. Which is, and she's the great, and look, she's just the great talent that has been committed to the Lord. But if you don't let the Lord control her,
that's right,
then the Lord is going to be subject to the conditions that she creates based on her search for truth.
You can't always drive, right?
No.
That's right.
So, you know. Now, so that's why what one must learn to do is examine. See who's driving. See who's in control. See who's in control. That's why you must take your time, sit down somewhere, look at yourself, and see who's in control. That's right. Where is this coming from? What is the meaning of this? Who said that? Because remember, she responds to influence. The Lord self has influence. It has the power of influence over her. Yes.
I just want to ask a question. It's like charting a course as well.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to say it because I'm listening to you.
Yes.
And it's like you're charting a course.
Yes.
And if I see myself deviating off the course, I'm
yes.
going to know.
Yes.
You know, but if I excel in it, right after I deviate and then I go to excel on anyway,
yeah,
then I guess the worst is yet to come.
There's no question.
It's like saying you grab hold to the truth and he
and
said beware.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The worst is yet to come. With the moment, because it's like a part of us, we do know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I act like I don't know and I just want to do because it's like I'm not doing what I want. I'm not doing what I should be doing. Right. I'm doing what I want to do.
Of course. Of course. Look, the question is, do you accept that as being the way or not? You may not accept this up to a point. I can accept it right now because I can see the benefits that it's doing for me. Right. But now when it comes time that I got to do for others, maybe I'm not that accepting like I used to be.
So you got some more growing to do.
There's no question.
No question.
You see? That's why you got to be careful when you got to be careful. Especially when the form of man has an impact on how you feel about them.
Right.
So you can't continue to look at somebody and be disturbed. They disturb you. Because your thoughts change. Your current of thought changes and your ethers change, meaning it affects your decision making. And once it affects your decision making, it affects the condition you create. So you got to be careful that the appearance of the form does not cause you cause your thoughts to go awry. And the only way that you can fight that is that you have firmly established into yourself what? You can't get away from the principles because the principles will help you create the condition of what? Heaven.
So you become selfish somewhat. I mean, well, actually, I can see myself getting selfish, but I'm really not selfish. It's just that if I don't do it for me, because I can't, I think I put it out there one time too many, thinking the trust of someone else, you know what I'm saying, or just relying on them when for real. You know, I think I should be able to rely on self a little better. So, you know,
it would be better.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of making me selfish.
Yeah.
Today, right? You know,
yeah. Something to think about, ain't it?
It is.
Man, look. Yeah, but when you start to think about it in that way, you start to see the role she plays. Then you will be a little more aware of what she does. Because remember, her whole thing is to express the thought that she thinks. And she's thinking because that's one of her actions. She's always thinking.
Right.
And so that means the question is now, do you hear me that dwells within you?
Right.
And say, stop thinking like that.
Exactly.
Can I hear the voice to say, stop thinking like that? Because if she don't hear the voice, she's going to think like she thinks. And the way she thinks is solely dependent on what has the most influence on her thinking. Yeah.
That's what I'm so you say something about, say, she?
Yep.
So we be speaking about she, the Holy Breath?
I'm talking about she, the soul.
The soul?
Yes. She is alike in all.
In all, that's right.
Yes.
Because I asked that question because I was kind of perplexed.
I understand.
You know.
The perplexity.
You know.
I understand your perplexity.
And being able to deal with whatnot, you know, what's truth and what's real, is being able to separate one from the other.
Now remember, when we are speaking about her, we're speaking about her from the point of her expressing herself by way of this. You know her by way of what she expresses. Thought must express itself. That's why we need to allow her to express the higher way of thinking.
Okay.
That's one of the things that the prophet showed us this. That's why, look, I won't say that's why. But this is very important. The express is very important. She must express this. See, she must be taught to express this. Because she's also been taught to say, hey, what's up?
Yeah, she must come with that, she must leave with it.
She's been taught that too. You know, I mean, look at some of the things that we express and understand. That's what she has been taught. So we're trying, we got to go back and re-educate her. It's just like you got to take her, sit her down and go all over this stuff again and hope that she's willing, because that's her action. You got to hope she's willing to listen to the still small voice.
So that's when reflections and
It's
all
the
that
business.
come into play. That's right. Yeah.
My brother. Yes.
And that's contingent too on your practice.
Yes, brother.
See, the less you practice, the less you gonna pay attention.
That it is.
The more you practice, the more you can get her attention.
It is. And you know what? Isn't that not simple?
Yeah.
That's simple, man.
But she'll go from Islam to what's up.
That's right.
As soon as you step out of here.
That's right.
Maybe before you step out of here.
Look, she will do a lot of things because of the past teachings that we have accepted as being real.
Yeah.
Her thinking is distorted. She has a distorted way of looking at things because she has been influenced by the world. The world, a reflex.
And it's real. That's so real. You know, because, and I'm saying it from my experiences now, that how I'm actually allowing the words of the prophet, you know, to resonate them. There are times when I still look in the mirror, and see the person that's looking back at me.
Yeah.
And you know, and after I did all this reflection, it's, you know, there's parts of me that I still know that I need to work on, that I disliked about me.
Yeah.
And I say that because I felt pain and I felt disappointment.
Right.
But though the pain, that same pain and that same disappointment became fuel that motivated me. Because I didn't want to feel like this no more. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And then I realized that, you know, I did this to myself.
That's right.
That's where the acceptance came in, because I did this to myself.
That's right.
And I used to put my faults and feelings on other people. Like, man, you know, if I wasn't with so and so, or I ain't, you know. But I think there's no greater responsibility than to the one to yourself. And so, you know, I'm accepting it now, you know what I mean? And I say to myself, I guess it's better late than never.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Mo, look, but check this out. Man is sure to find it. It's your time. you had to go through what you had to go through to reach your time. You know, because you had to get to a point and say to yourself, as we all who have accepted what he's saying, we think our condition can be better.
Because now it doesn't. It don't matter what you think.
It don't matter.
It's what I think.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
That's right.
It's how I feel. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what you do. It's what I do. So that's where it all down.
But in the higher realm of thought pertaining to it doesn't matter. But you see, at a point, it does matter.
It does matter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Because what happens is that once we start to recognize and accept that we're all bound
by one cord, right? But there's a line that's divided between divinity and man.
Right.
So if I'm letting go and I'm letting Allah, then I'm letting the divine.
Right.
I'm moving with.
But raise it not too high.
Right. Exactly.
You got to keep it in a balance.
Balance. Right.
You know, because see, one thing once we start to grasp the teaching, we have to be careful that we don't become fanatical.
Right.
We don't become religious fanatics.
Right. Exactly.
You know, thinking that everyone has to do it this way.
Right.
We have to keep it in balance. You know, because you know, remember what our job is.
Flexible. Right.
We are members of a great program.
Right.
And the great program that we have accepted as being the way.
Right.
Is to aid and assist.
And the gigantic mission of
the
uplifting of man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Praise God.
But anyway, it goes on to say this. It says, the inconstant feeleth that he changed, but he knoweth not why. He seeth that he escapeth from himself, but he perceiveth not how. Be thou incapable of change in that which is right, and men will rely upon thee. Now, the inconstant does what? He feels the change. Why? What causes that feeling? What causes the feeling? What causes you to feel a certain way?
Emotion.
Yes. A change in vibration. And what is affected by the change in vibration?
The condition.
Yeah, it does.
Your
But
way
what?
of thinking.
Your way of thinking is an action of what? Your soul.
Oh yes.
Your soul feels the change in vibration. Remember, more supple than water, more flexible than wax. So she responds to impressions. It affects her. She feels a certain way. And what causes the vibration to change? The ethers does, but the ethers is a direct result of what? Thoughts. When your thoughts change, it affects you. You ever notice this? You may go one place, be feeling good. Here comes something here, bring you right back down. Can't you feel it when you change? Well, that's the change in the vibration that comes from the thought that you accept. Each thought breeds something, a feeling. And the feeling you use to alert yourself.
So that's why you guard yourself.
You got to guard yourself.
At all times.
Because if you don't, you can walk into a vibration of anger and become angry and don't even know why. And say, I don't know why I feel like this. Well, you have entered into that particular vibration that causes that reaction that comes from that thought that has an influence on you at the time. Now, why did I get into this? You weren't aware. You weren't conscious.
That's it.
So what do I have to do? I have to create the conditions to come out of it.
Turn my foot from it.
Come on, Brother Adam Black.
Islam. I think about that part that says more
supple than water. Yes.
Think about it like you can take a feather.
Yes.
And drop it on water.
Yes.
And cause a ripple.
That's right.
And a feather is so light. That's how easy it is to just change.
That's right. But you know what, babe? Thoughts are light.
Islam.
They only become heavy when they manifest. But initially, the thought is very light.
Islam.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I'm not even aware of them. That's why that influence.
That's they coming in.
It comes right in there.
Yeah.
Just the other day when me and the brother was riding, and we was conversing in a spiritual conversation. And
what kind of conversation?
Spiritual.
Oh, you must tell us conspiracy.
Spiritual conversation. And he's macabre behind me said, blah, 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 blah. And I said, what? Just that quick.
Right.
And it changed just that quick. And I say, and because I was in that space, I said, praise the Lord. And the brother said, okay, there you go. You can get back. I recognize it, you know. And I said, oh, wow. Just that quick. You know, and just that quick. And it was so light. Right. I didn't get it. Praise the Lord.
So you keep, I think the reason that you all are being exposed to the type of conversation that's being held now about your soul is because we are in the times that are very turbulent. And if you're not careful, you can enter into ether without you even knowing that in it and pick up the characteristics that's in those particular ethers based on that way of thinking that created those particular ethers in the first place. You don't want to let that control how you feel. When you get up in the morning and you say your prayer and you say, I'm not going to let anything disturb my peace, right? Then you practice not letting anything disturb your peace. Because the minute that you make that assessment, you will be challenged. Whereas your peace will be disturbed if you let it. And with all that's going on now, you don't want to get caught up under the illusion.
That's why things happen the way they do right now.
Yeah. Remember, keep her in check. Peace.
Peace.
Beautiful.
You realize just how precious a moment can be. Because in that moment, it's like,
Thank our Grand Seeker with the moderator of the Moore Scientific America, Ron John Bay, for his instructions. I'd like to thank you all for your participation. I pray a lot of we all got a lot of our Sunday schools and we exercise our senses. That's what we're here for. To exercise. Exercise your five senses. That's what we do. So I pray a lot we got a lot out of it and that we can hold the thought. Hold the thought. That being said, I'm going to call for the Assistant Grand Governor of Washington, D.C., Brother T.J. Thiel, to read the warning. Can we cease all movement and give him unified attention?
Islam. First I rise and give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, and I give honor to His holy prophet, Noble Ali. I give honor to each and every one of you. It's a great day, Moors. Prophet warns, all Muslims, governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards and your opinions. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, but cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of prophet Noble Ali. Peace.
Peace.